we are going to have our Bible time first. Please understand that we're still trying to figure, things out. I think it's going to take us maybe several months for us to, become finally settled in. I'm not even sure like which microphone I'm supposed to use, but I'll try this one this time, maybe the other one next time, and then we'll see how things start to fit together. For the short Bible time that we have, we're going to, kind of look at the story of the Israelites and then finish with Deuteronomy chapter 8 verse 1. I'm going to remind you guys some of the history of the Israelites. Out of the many people in ancient Israel, God has chosen one person and his family to unfold his story and unfold his plan for the nation. We call him the father of faith, and sometimes we call him the father of nations. Can you guys guess who that person might be? Starts with an A. Abraham, right? Then, God calls Abraham, tells him to leave his hometown to the land that God is promising to him. It's a rather shocking invitation. Abraham obeys, and he starts having children. God actually promised that, hey, Abraham, I want you to look up the sky. And there were numerous stars in the sky. Imagine there's no light pollution, there's no air pollution, and there's so many stars in the sky. And God tells Abraham, hey, Abraham, I am going to make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. I'm going to, fast forward a little bit. And Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac had Jacob, and Jacob had many sons, and his sons became the leaders or the ancestors of the 12 tribes of Israel. And they had a great famine, and the family was forced to go visit Egypt. And, long story short, through Joseph, the family ends up staying in Egypt. Do you know how long they stayed in Egypt for? For 430 years. Many years and many generations. Eventually, they became slaves, and they spent a long time in Egypt working hard for the Pharaoh. And the time has come that God will choose and raise Moses to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. And what do we call that event? What do we call that? We call it the Exodus, right? Moses in a burning bush, received that calling. And if you guys have seen the movie Prince of Egypt, a great movie that I recommend to is actually the first movie that I watched when I came to America. So I love that movie. And, and then God promised to them, hey, I'm going to lead you guys into the promised land. And by a physical distance, it's not a very long distance from Egypt to the promised land. But, for a reason they could not understand, they go around and around and around and around. And it takes them 40 years of a wilderness journey before they finally enter into the promised land. I don't know about you guys, but when I take a trip, usually a week is enough for me. After 1 week, I become so tired and I just want to go home. Do you know where the best place is? It's home. And do you know what the best food is? It's the kimchi jjigae and the bowl of rice that you cook at home. It's the best. But imagine wandering around for 40 years in the wilderness, and imagine how difficult it must have been for them. And now they're finally ready to enter into the promised land. And I think this is how they must have thought, okay, 430 years as slaves, and now 40 years, in this wilderness journey, finally we're entering into the promised land. Finally, God's promise is fully revealed, and from now on, it's all going to be blessings. It's all going to be happiness. We're going to finally have a home. We're going to build a house, and we're going to settle in there, and life is only going to become great. But guess what? It was not the end of the story, but it was only the beginning of the story in terms of having to continue their fight. When they entered into the promised land, it was not a done deal. They still had fights to go through. Physical fights to drive people out and claim the land, but also fights within their hearts to renew their hearts and to become, for the Israelites, to become a place that can contain and hold the promises and the blessings of God. Can we read Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 1? Let's read it together, 1, 2, 3. All the commandments that I am commanding you today, you shall be careful to do, so that you may live and increase and go in and take possession of the land which the Lord swore to give to your forefathers. It says it's not the end. You have to be even more careful to keep all the commandments that I am giving you. It is the only beginning. As a church, this day marks a new chapter, a new era, but I also feel like it's only the new beginning. And we must be careful to keep the commandments of God in our heart, in our actions, in our words, in our mouths, so that God's blessing can continue to flow through you, through your families, and through our church. Would you say amen to that? Amen.